All shiny and new were the weapons we handed off to the Yemen government way back in 2007. Everything from bullets to bombs, all designed to keep the peace and ensure America would never have to get involved in that country's wars ever again. Take that tongue out of your cheek and let's once again deal with some reality. Welcome back to MidPoint. The Vice President of Policy and Communications for Citizens Against Government Waste. We waste no time. Every time Leslie Paige joins us to tackle stunning waste thanks to your elected officials. Leslie, good to see you again.
Hello, Ed. How are you?
Excellent. And I do not have $500 million to spare, but I guess the United States government does.
Neither does the United States of America, by the way.
There it is. They don't have that to spare. And this, it's funny, but when I see this story, the Pentagon lost track of $500 million in weapons and equipment given to Yemen. I'm thinking to myself, we lost track of stuff back in Korea and Vietnam, and we can't keep track of any weapons that we throw around the world.
Yeah, United States of America has a feng shui problem. We can't track any of our stuff. I mean, I feel like, they remind me of the kid with the, your teenage middle school son who comes in with the backpack and you're like, what is in there? What have you got stashed in there? Nobody knows. Yeah, this is not the first time, by the way. I mean, this story was reported in the Washington Post. It was somewhat exclusive. They must have had a source. The GAO is having behind-the-scenes meetings with the Pentagon and with members of Congress to tell them that, yes, indeed, we have lost track of and cannot account for $500 million in weapons, ammunition, small arms, patrol boats, vehicles, night vision goggles.
What about those who would say, though, that this is the cost of doing business?
By the way, that this comes on the heels of today's report on Yemen's on the terrorist attack in Yemen. It's
exactly
not good.
But what about those who would say that, wait a minute, if we're going to go to war around the world, this is simply the cost of doing business. We can't keep track of every last bullet, so do you really expect us to do that?
Well, I don't think anyone's expecting them to keep track of every single last bullet, but if you've been tracking this as long as we have, the Government Accountability Office and the Inspector General and every possible oversight body has told us that the Pentagon is unauditable. They've literally been unable to pass an audit, ever. Okay, so, and we're talking about plussing up. Now they're even in the Congress today, they're talking about plussing up the Overseas Contingency Operation Fund. I understand the impulses to give our warfighters what they need, but we have to look at what we are wasting here. In some cases, the improper overpayments that we have wasted, the losses, could possibly have paid for the sequester cuts. That's how high they are. And this is not the first time we've heard about it. They have lost, in 2013 in Yemen, the GAO found that they had lost control of their counterterrorism unit. They couldn't figure out what was happening with it. And now it's even worse because we've withdrawn our people from Yemen. So we have nobody on the ground there to look for this stuff. They did stop a shipment, apparently, of another $125 million worth of goods that were supposed to go over there. They did sort of put a stop to that. But, this is a chronic, long-term problem. I feel like I'm a broken record when I say it, but it's true.
No, but it's not even just the military here, because I got about 90 seconds left. I want to make sure that we touch on the EPA, because when you look at the amount of stunning waste and things that are missed there, I mean, here's a report that one of the EPA warehouses had a man cave built into it, all built with that wonderful taxpayer dollar.
Wasn't that funny? I mean, I'm sorry. If it weren't so sad, it would be funny. Yeah, but they've also lost, recently the GAO went out and did a study. They sampled two warehouse areas where the EPA keeps its high-level equipment, anything $75,000 or over. So this is anything that's, any equipment at all that they use that's worth $75,000. And they found 30% of what they sampled was essentially unused and not even unaccounted for. It had sat in a warehouse for between 2 and 14 years unused.
Is anybody doing anything to find this? I mean, I only got about 30, 40 seconds left, but the end result here is anybody doing anything to find all this, get it back, do something to stop this waste?
I think there's been stabs made at it, but the fact of the matter is that in all agencies of the federal government, what you have is a data problem. Nobody can measure what we own and put it into a database and quantify it. No one knows, there's been huge problems with data management of what we own, including buildings, by the way. This is not just equipment. We've lost building. We've got unused, underutilized, huge vacant buildings that the taxpayers own all over this country that nobody can account for. So it's a chronic problem. It's a little more dangerous, a lot more dangerous in this issue because it's in Yemen and it's weaponry. But it's sort of the worst case scenario.
Remember that, Americans, if you want to know how to make a building disappear, Our government knows how to do it in the EPA and the
Yes, and
military.
David
They've
Copperfield,
already
you know.
got the technology, but it's at your expense. Hey, please, people, make sure you check out what is happening here. Go to cagw.org, Citizens Against Government Waste. We have them here every week, and we are proud to bring this information forward to let you know where your money's being spent. Leslie, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Ed, and you too.
Take care. Hey, slap down one of the more powerful men in college sports and watch him get back on his heels and strike back. The Professor is next.